In the distant future, humanity was part of an interstellar alliance, often perceived as the least advanced among the member species. Despite their technological limitations, humans had a unique spirit that set them apart. This was a time when proving their worth in a galaxy filled with superior civilizations became imperative. Captain Alex Mercer stood on the bridge of the USS Dauntless, a ship that many considered a relic from a bygone era. With its clunky design and outdated systems, the Dauntless was an oddity among the sleek, advanced vessels of the Alliance. Mercer, a seasoned and determined leader, had earned a reputation for his unorthodox tactics. His crew, though skeptical, respected his experience and drive. Among them was Lieutenant Sarah Brooks, the ship's brilliant but cynical engineer. Brooks had grown disillusioned with the military's rigid hierarchy and the constant underestimation of human ingenuity. She often saw the Dauntless as a symbol of humanity's struggle, clumsy and outdated, yet full of untapped potential. Dr. Lena Torres, the ship's empathetic and resourceful medic, provided the emotional backbone for the crew. Torres had a knack for keeping spirits high, even in the direst situations. Her unwavering optimism and compassion made her indispensable, balancing Brooks' cynicism with hope. The Dauntless itself was a source of contention. Its design included features that seemed impractical or absurd to the more advanced alien species. The ship's external armor was bulky, making it slower and less maneuverable. Inside, the corridors were narrow and the technology outdated. But there was something about its ruggedness that spoke to the resilience of its crew. Mercer called his senior officers to the briefing room. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a detailed map of their mission area. Outpost Sigma, a strategically vital but vulnerable location, was under threat from the Zarkan Empire. The Zarkans were a technologically superior and ruthless adversary, bent on expanding their territory at any cost. "Our task is to defend Outpost Sigma," Mercer began, his voice steady. "The Zarkan Empire won't expect much resistance from the Dauntless. They see us as a joke. Let's use that to our advantage." Brooks leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "We're going to need more than surprise to win this one. The Dauntless isn't exactly built for speed or stealth." Mercer nodded. "True, but we have something they don't. Ingenuity and the element of unpredictability. We'll use every quirk and flaw of this ship to our benefit." The crew's reactions were mixed. Some were anxious, aware of the ridicule they faced from other Alliance members. Others were determined, ready to prove themselves. Torres offered a reassuring smile. "We've faced worse odds before. We'll find a way." The final preparations were a flurry of activity. Engineers worked to reinforce the ship's shields and weapons, while the rest of the crew ensured all systems were operational. Brooks, despite her skepticism, led her team with precision, identifying and fixing potential weak points. As they neared departure, the Alliance leaders voiced their doubts. In a transmission, Admiral Vex of the Calorian Fleet, a senior figure in the Alliance, expressed his skepticism. "Captain Mercer, we are entrusting you with a critical mission. Success is paramount. Failure is not an option." Mercer met the Admiral's gaze on the screen. "Understood, Admiral. The Dauntless will not let you down." In the moments before they left, Mercer gathered his crew for a final word. Standing on the bridge, he looked at each member with a sense of pride. "We may not have the fastest or the most advanced ship, but we have something more important: heart and determination. We've trained for this, and I know each one of you is capable of greatness. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is truly made of." With that, the Dauntless departed from the Alliance fleet, its engines humming with an almost defiant resolve. As they navigated through the vast expanse of space, the crew felt a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. The mission ahead was fraught with danger, but they were ready to face it head-on. Their destination, Outpost Sigma, was a beacon of strategic importance. Protecting it from the Zarkan onslaught would not only secure a critical point in the Alliance's defense but also serve as a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The journey to Outpost Sigma was filled with tense moments as the crew encountered several challenges along the way. From asteroid fields that required precise navigation to systems malfunctions that tested their problem-solving skills, Every obstacle was a reminder of the daunting task ahead. Throughout the voyage, Mercer's leadership shone through. He remained calm and decisive, inspiring his crew to push beyond their limits. Brooks, despite her initial doubts, found herself impressed by Mercer's ability to turn the ship's flaws into strengths. Torres continued to be the glue holding the team together, her presence a constant source of comfort and encouragement. As the Dauntless approached Outpost Sigma, the crew prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The Zarkan Empire's forces were already converging on the outpost, their ships forming an imposing blockade. The sight was enough to make even the most seasoned soldiers hesitate, but Mercer and his crew stood ready. Mercer's voice cut through the tension. "All hands, prepare for battle. Remember, our strength lies in our unity and our ability to adapt. We will defend Outpost Sigma and show the Zarkans what humanity can do." The Dauntless moved into position, its outdated systems a stark contrast to the sleek, menacing Zarkan ships. But what the Dauntless lacked in modernity, it made up for in spirit and innovation. The crew, now a cohesive unit, braced themselves for the fight of their lives. As the first shots were fired, the battle for Outpost Sigma began. The USS Dauntless glided through space, its crew on high alert. The sensors picked up a Zarkan scout ship on a direct course for their position. The Dauntless' outdated systems struggled to keep up with the modern threat, with screens glitching and weapons lagging. Captain Mercer's eyes scanned the data, his mind racing for a solution. "Lieutenant Brooks, we need those shields at full capacity," Mercer commanded. Brooks, working furiously at her console, muttered, "I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. These systems are practically antiques." The Zarkan scout ship closed in, its sleek design a stark contrast to the clunky Dauntless. The first shots fired by the scout ship rocked the Dauntless, causing lights to flicker and alarms to blare. Mercer's mind whirred with possibilities. "Brooks, what if we use the ship's bulk to our advantage? Rotate our broadside to absorb the hits and return fire with everything we've got." Brooks looked up, a mixture of doubt and curiosity in her eyes. "It's risky, but it could work. We're too slow to dodge their attacks anyway." Mercer relayed the plan to the crew. "All hands, prepare for a broadside assault. Use the ship's hull to shield our more vulnerable sections. Fire all weapons on my mark." The Dauntless lumbered into position, taking heavy fire. The crew braced for impact, their confidence in Mercer's unorthodox tactics growing. With a coordinated effort, they unleashed a barrage of return fire, catching the Zarkan scout off guard. The scout ship, not expecting such a move, faltered and withdrew. The bridge erupted in a mix of relief and restrained celebration. Brooks couldn't help but smile, her respect for Mercer growing. "Nice work, Captain. Maybe this old bucket of bolts has some fight left in her after all." Mercer's expression remained focused. "We've got a long way to go. Let's make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." The crew's shared struggle with their ship's limitations began to forge a strong bond. Late nights in the engine room, huddled around malfunctioning systems, became opportunities for camaraderie. Dr. Torres moved among the crew, offering encouragement and tending to minor injuries, her presence a steadying force. Mercer continued to inspire innovation, urging his crew to think creatively. Brooks, initially skeptical, started to see the Dauntless' unconventional potential. She discovered that the ship's odd design allowed for some unique tactical advantages, such as using the heavy armor to deflect energy blasts. Torres, ever the morale officer, helped the crew stay focused and optimistic. She organized small gatherings, where they could share stories and decompress from the stress of battle. These moments of connection strengthened their resolve and unified their efforts. As they continued their mission, the Dauntless faced several minor skirmishes. Each one tested the crew's ingenuity and pushed their skills to the limit. During one particularly intense encounter, a critical system failure left the ship vulnerable. The crew had to perform emergency repairs under fire, their teamwork and quick thinking saving the day. One night, as the ship drifted through the quiet of space, Brooks made a startling discovery. While exploring the ship's ancient schematics, she found an undocumented feature, a camouflage system that could blend with cosmic radiation. Excitement buzzed through the crew as they gathered to discuss the potential of this newfound tool. "We need to test this in a controlled environment," Brooks suggested. "If it works, it could give us a huge advantage." The crew prepared for the experiment, carefully calibrating the system. When they activated it, the Dauntless seemed to vanish, blending seamlessly with the surrounding space. The success of the test raised everyone's spirits, providing a much-needed boost to their morale. "Looks like this old ship still has a few tricks up her sleeve," Mercer said with a grin. "We'll use this to our advantage against the Zarkan forces." The USS Dauntless joined the Alliance fleet, bracing for the Zarkan assault on Outpost Sigma. The crew knew this battle would test their mettle, and as they took their positions, a palpable sense of urgency filled the air. Captain Mercer, ever composed, gave final instructions, his voice steady over the intercom. "Prepare for engagement. This is what we've trained for," Mercer said, his eyes fixed on the enemy fleet displayed on the bridge's screens. The Zarkan fleet, larger and more advanced, launched a surprise attack, catching the Alliance forces off guard. Explosions rocked the Dauntless as the enemy targeted the ship, viewing it as an easy mark. The bridge shook with each hit, and alarms blared as the crew scrambled to maintain control. "Shields down to 60%, Brooks reported, her fingers flying over her console. "We can't take much more of this." Mercer nodded, his mind racing. "Divert all available power to the shields. And prepare for evasive maneuvers." Despite their efforts, the Alliance fleet began to falter under the relentless onslaught. The Dauntless took heavy damage, and hopes seemed to wane. The ship's condition grew dire, and the crew's faces mirrored their growing despair. Mercer's voice broke through the chaos. "We need a new plan. Brooks, what about the camouflage system we discovered?" Brooks hesitated. "It's untested, Captain. It could malfunction under this stress." "Right now, it's our best shot," Mercer replied firmly. "We need to take out the Zarkan command ship. It's the only way to turn this battle around." The crew exchanged uncertain glances but trusted Mercer's judgment. They set to work, repairing damages and fine-tuning the camouflage system. Sweat and determination marked their faces as they prepared for the mission that could decide their fate. "All systems ready," Brooks announced, her voice steady despite the tension. "Activate camouflage," Mercer ordered. The Dauntless shimmered and then seemed to vanish, blending into the cosmic background. Navigating through the chaos, the Dauntless moved stealthily toward the Zarkan command ship. The crew held their breath, each second feeling like an eternity. As they neared their target, the camouflage system began to show signs of strain. Panels flickered, and warnings beeped urgently. "Captain, we're losing stability on the camouflage," Brooks warned. "Hold it together, just a little longer," Mercer urged. "We're almost there." With nerves of steel, the crew improvised solutions, patching the system in real time. The Dauntless slipped through the enemy defenses, positioning itself for a strike. Mercer issued the final command. "All weapons, fire at will!" The Dauntless unleashed a powerful barrage, targeting the weak points of the Zarkan command ship. Explosions rippled through the enemy vessel, causing widespread confusion and disarray among the Zarkan fleet. The once coordinated assault began to crumble. Cheers erupted on the Dauntless bridge as the Zarkan command ship sustained critical damage. The Alliance forces, seizing the opportunity, regrouped and launched a counterattack. The tide of battle shifted, and the Zarkan fleet found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned. The Alliance's renewed vigor pushed the Zarkans back, securing a hard-fought victory. The bridge of the Dauntless was a scene of exhausted relief and triumph. The crew, despite the odds, had proven their worth. Mercer allowed himself a rare smile. "Outstanding work, everyone. This victory belongs to all of us." Brooks leaned back, wiping her brow. "Maybe this old ship isn't so stupid after all." Dr. Torres, her eyes shining with pride, added, "We've shown them what humanity can do." The Zarkan fleet retreated in disarray, their defeat at Outpost Sigma a stark reminder of their vulnerability. The Alliance, stunned by their unexpected victory, erupted in celebration. The Dauntless, once the object of scorn, was now the hero of the hour. On the bridge, Captain Mercer allowed himself a rare moment of pride as he watched the enemy ships flee. "All units stand down. Begin recovery operations," Mercer commanded, his voice steady despite the turmoil of emotions beneath. The crew of the Dauntless had proven themselves under the harshest of trials. Alliance leadership, recognizing their bravery and ingenuity, showered the Dauntless with commendations. Mercer, Brooks, and Torres stood before the council, each receiving accolades for their roles in the battle. Reflecting on the mission's success, Mercer contemplated the lessons learned about leadership and resilience. The mission had tested his limits, pushing him to make decisions that balanced risk with necessity. His unorthodox strategies had saved them, proving that innovation often trumped raw power. Brooks, meanwhile, had gained a newfound respect for the Dauntless and her crewmates. Initially cynical about the ship's potential, she had come to see it as a testament to human ingenuity. The challenges they faced had forced her to think creatively, turning perceived weaknesses into strategic advantages. Torres felt a deep sense of pride in the crew's unity. Her role in maintaining morale and providing emotional support had been crucial. She saw firsthand how compassion and understanding could fortify a team's resolve, turning fear into determination. The Alliance's high command began to reevaluate their perceptions of human capabilities. The victory at Outpost Sigma demonstrated that creativity and unconventional thinking were invaluable assets. Other species in the Alliance started to show more respect towards humans, leading to new opportunities for collaboration and mutual growth. Diplomatic relations shifted as respect for humanity grew. Leaders from various species approached Mercer and his crew, seeking to learn from their experiences. The Dauntless, once ridiculed, became a symbol of resilience and adaptability. This newfound respect opened doors for deeper alliances and cooperative ventures, enhancing the strength of the coalition. As the dust settled, new threats loomed on the horizon. The Zarkan Empire, though defeated, was far from vanquished. Reports indicated that they were regrouping, preparing for another assault. The Alliance needed to stay vigilant, ready to counter any further aggression. The Dauntless, having proven its worth, was scheduled for an extensive refit. Engineers planned to incorporate the lessons learned from the battle, upgrading the ship with new technologies while preserving its unique strengths. The crew, now a tight-knit team, looked forward to these improvements with renewed confidence and determination. Mercer gathered his officers to discuss their future. "We've shown what we can do, but we must remain ready. The Zarkan threat is still out there. Let's make sure the Dauntless is prepared for whatever comes next." Brooks nodded, a determined glint in her eye. "We've learned a lot from this ship. Let's use that knowledge to make it even better," Torres added. "We've come this far together. Whatever the future holds, we'll face it as a team." The story of the Dauntless became a legend within the Alliance. The ship, once underestimated, had achieved the unthinkable. It stood as a reminder that sometimes, the most unexpected tools could achieve the greatest victories. The legacy of the Dauntless underscored a universal truth: with ingenuity and unity, any challenge could be overcome.